I'm Manveen Rana, Innovations Editor here at Hub Culture for Davos 2024. And I'm joined here on our little balcony by Charles Adkins from Hedera. Welcome. Charles, Hedera is such an interesting project. It's got a huge presence here at Davos this year. For people who don't know what it does, how would you describe it?
Yeah, so it's very similar to a blockchain. So it's a hash graph consensus algorithm where we basically verify transactions and handle tokenization on chain, just like most typical blockchains do.
This year's theme at Davos is about rebuilding trust. There is probably the need for a bit of trust building when it comes to blockchain. I think a lot of people still know about it but don't really understand the process or are fearful about how it works. Your model is interesting because you've managed to bring in so many companies behind you. Just explain how it works and how it helps to make sure that people can sort of trust the mechanism.
Right, so we bring in a lot of large companies that we call our governing council, and we do that because we ask them to give us feedback on the network. We ask them if they were to build a network of their own, how would they do it? And they think about things from an enterprise lens, which is very different than the general consumer. So we have council members, we now have 30. We just announced Hitachi today as our newest council member.
Congratulations.
So they get to come in, we meet every month, we ask them, how would you manage a network? They tell us, we take that into a vote with a board, and if enough votes are there, we change the network to fit exactly what they're doing.
That's amazing. So These are big global companies. I mean, half of them are, big names at Davos too. Huge companies behind you, and they're all making the decisions. It's not just sort of a little council of a few people who nobody can see inside Hedera. This is a massive enterprise.
Yeah, quite a few people, and all of those board minutes and meetings they're all fully posted and transparent after they're done. You can look them up online and see what we talked about. Many of them are here, so Google, Dell, IBM. We have several companies that actually are here on the promenade, so it's nice to see them all.
And some of the uses for your technology are about subjects like sustainability, which is so big at Davos. Just give us a sense of how it's being used.
Yeah, so a lot of people do kind of materials tracing, and so you can follow the life cycle of a product. Atma.io, which is a product from Avery Dennison, they trace all of the clothing, paper, every single product that they build typically will have a QR code on it you can scan, and you will see the entire traceability of that product, where it came from, where it was manufactured, and the materials used to do it. They process roughly 250 million transactions about every 24 hours, just to give you an idea of how big of a volume they're putting those QR codes on.
So this means, for the average consumer, I can be sure that if I'm buying a piece of clothing, it hasn't come from a sweatshop. I can know exactly its provenance.
Yeah. Its provenance, its authenticity, so it works in a lot of luxury goods services as well. Yeah. Anti-counterfeiting, so it does work really well in a lot of different industries.
Amazing. And just finally, Charles, when it comes to building trust, I know a lot of people, when they hear blockchain, are terrified because it's so secure that if you sort of lose a password, you don't really know how you're going to recover your chain effectively. I know that's something you guys have been looking into, and this is so innovative. I haven't heard about this anywhere else. Just explain what you're looking at the moment.
Yeah, so us, along with some of the other blockchains out there, Algorand being one of them, we've come together and created the Derec Alliance, which stands for the Decentralized Recovery Alliance. And essentially the reason that came about was the average person, we live in a world where we assume there's safety nets to everything.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm always losing my passwords. I want to be able to click on something to send it back to me.
That's exactly it. And in crypto and in blockchain, in that space, we always hear about seed phrases and wallets, and write this down on a piece of paper and put it in a safe. And if you lose it, I'm sorry, all of your things are gone.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that that's not the case anymore. And that's one of the key features I think will create mass adoption. And so typically what happens is once that seed phrase is created, a little piece of it is sent out to several different helper accounts, we'll call them, and it's always connected to your mobile device. And if you happen to lose your seed phrase, and this doesn't just have to be a seed phrase, even if you have a secret recipe, a family recipe, You want to decentralize that? Give one ingredient to several different people.
Right, so every cousin gets one ingredient,
Yes.
but nobody can see them all.
Right.
Cunning.
But they can't talk to each other either, because then they could put it together.
Yes.
So with this, you could do a password reset. Your mobile will talk to each one of those individuals, bring those words back to you individually,
Wow.
and you'll have access to your assets again.
And you're back. That's amazing.
Yeah.
This is definitely cutting edge stuff. So thanks so much for coming and telling us about it. Charles
absolutely.
Adkins, it's been a real pleasure.
Thank you.
I'm Manveen Rana. Thanks for joining us.